Hey everybody, welcome back to Side of the Stash Report for Stash Project. This is going to be our August 2025 model kit release video. We do these monthly-ish. You know, I make promises about when these come out, and then I usually fail to deliver, so we're not making any more promises about these. They come out when I get them out, and this one again for August of 2025. We have exactly 20 items on the agenda today, 16 import, 4 domestic, and yeah. Had a lot of domestic kits last month, not so much this month, but, you know, if you're following along with kit releases in real time, you know that as we get closer to the end of the year here, we are going to talk about domestic kits in big chunks again in the coming months. Just, not this one. So, talking about this month's releases, we have 2 out of the stables over at round 2. These are both just straight reissues. One a little more out of the loop than the other. First up, you have the 97 Mustang Cobra. So, as you may recall, I believe it was about this time last year, maybe a little earlier last year, the 97 Mustang GT kit was reissued. These are sort of where the tooling ended on the SN95 annuals that AMT did back in the day. They started doing those in 1994 and did them through 1997 with a couple of Cobras involved, and there was also a Cobra convertible in this series, and then there were snap-typed Mustang GTs as well. So this is the glue kit. This was last seen, I want to say, about 10 years ago. It was done in a Racing Champions era box, part of the Street Ride series, had a blue car on the box art. This sort of restores back to something in the 90s era box art design that they're doing currently. Straight reissue, other than the obviously new decals being done for this release, but otherwise a pretty decent kit all in all. Follows the patterns of all of the 90s era AMT annual kits, so if you built those back 30 years ago, then you know what to expect with this type of kit. And then the other release also from AMT is the Roman Chariot. Now, people who have watched this channel for a very long time know that I have not necessarily no love for, because I don't want to sound like I hate them. I just don't understand the point of these. They're just crazy show rods in the 1970s. Everyone at AMT was apparently just high as a kite on mushrooms, and these were the resulting business decisions that were made, and then everybody wonders why. Geez, AMT almost went out of business in the late 1970s. I can't imagine why when you're spending all your money on stuff like this. Now, to defend AMT, this base kit did do 2 or 3 other show rods that are vaguely attached to it in terms of like parts and basic architecture. The little stogie is one of them. That's been reissued. There's another one that I can't think of off the top of my head, but that one has also been reissued. This is sort of the last one that has never been reissued by the round 2 folks at AMT. This was the original kit of the series of all of those other ones I just mentioned, tooled up at 1971. And yeah, it's a giant Roman chariot helmet on a street roddy looking thing. Kind of a 29 T-bucket kind of looking thing, obviously with the exhaust and the giant Parthenon style intake and things like that. It's just weird. I mean, for you guys who like this stuff, I'm thrilled that it's back out for you. I hope you guys go out and buy these things out so they don't wind up in the discount bin at Ollie's where the last ones have wound up, because nobody cares. But again, this one seemed to be something that people wanted. So, I mean, hey, again, if it sells, it sells. I have no qualms whatsoever about, giving you guys what you're actually willing to buy. It's just weird. You got to admit, it's just weird. Over at Salvino's JR, there are 2 kits this month. First one up is the Marty Robbins 1971 Dodge Charger. You'll notice they're Builders Club exclusive. So, they did this earlier this year. Well, actually, no, it'll be late last year, I guess, by the time it's all said and done with, because that was the last kit I got when I was part of the Builders Club, was the last Builders Club exclusive. And so what these are should be self-explanatory, right? Only the people who belong to the Model of the Month Club at Salvino's JR, which is you pay $52 and you get whatever the main kit is, and then you also have the ability to order extras, which are the other kits we mention on a monthly basis, at a discount, right? You get them for what the kit of the month costs rather than the retail price, which is, I don't know what the kit of the month costs anymore, but at the time I was part of the club, it was basically like $10 off the retail price, which was a pretty decent deal if you were going to buy extras. Because the one that you get through the Model of the Month Club, by the time you add the shipping and handling into it, it really cost about the same as it would if you just walked out and bought it at the hobby shop. But the extras ship free, so you got those other kits basically for that. Like I said, at the time, don't quote me now because again, it's been like a year. It was like I said, about $10 discount, which no other sales really could match. Even my local hobby shop, which sells things on sort of an internet price basis, their price eventually climbed up and met the extra price. And it's now more than the extra price. At any rate, this is a flat hooded Charger. I can't promise you, because again, not part of the club, so I've never seen the inside of this kit, that the flat hood Chargers in the past had the new bumper for the Pontiac 2+2, the Grand Prix, with the arrow rear window to it that they did earlier in their history. It was one of I think it was the first kit that they did that was their own tooling. They made the body for the 2+2, and then they made the Le Mans, and then those were the first monogram based tooling, I guess I should say. At any rate, if you're into your Marty Robbins, then the only way to get this is to try to find somebody who was in the club that has one. I think my local hobby shop might have got a couple of these in, because he personally joined the Boaters Club so they could stock the IndyCar kits, because they don't sell the IndyCar kits to hobby shops for, well, I understand the reason, but for whatever reason, the reason being that Indy has a stranglehold on it. Basically, you buy it through Salvino's, you buy it through Indy's official site or at the track, and that's it. They don't want it sold at retail, because why make Indy more popular when you can control it, I guess. And at any rate, all that aside, you have to. I'm pretty sure that Mike's doesn't carry this kit, or maybe they do, maybe they don't. I didn't check, but regular hobby shops won't have this. And you'll find them on eBay from the guys who bought extras, trying to resell them, probably at a profit, because that's what people tend to do with them. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is in that sense, right? I think the kit is molded in like the purpley color, and the fluorescent yellowish is what are on the decal sheet. And then also this month we got another current NASCAR kit. This is another one of these Don't Call It Camaros. This is Chase Elliott's Atlanta winner, which has the pet adoption livery on it, so kind of cool. I think he won with this livery, I want to say 2 or maybe 3 years ago. It was back when I was involved with the club, on us. Like, I watched the weekly video, and I commented on the weekly video as the show was live and stuff like that. I thought it would have been a good idea to do it back then, because he had won with it then. It never got done. It did get done this time, so that's pretty cool. On the box art there, you saw that it had that great big donut on the door where it got clanked into. That decal is included on the sheet. It is separate, so you can build this as like a clean pre-race car, or you can build it as the weathered up post-race car, depending on your particular taste, which I think is pretty cool. I like the inclusion of that rubber rub there. That's pretty neat. Not every decal sheet is like that, and so I appreciate that being tossed in there, so it's a little bit of an extra. So now we transit the Pacific and go overseas to the folks over at Aoshima, who are bringing out a little bit of modified reissue goodness. And then we have a little Fujimi, we have a little Haskell on the way out the door here. But over at Aoshima, we have these two kits. They are twinsies, if you will. And they are Urus, which is a tuner house over there in Japan, 180SXs. Though these are based on the new tool Nissan 180SX that was done last year. And include all of, sort of, you look at this yellow car here. This is the version 1. The version 1, version 2. They're going to be very close to each other. Very minor differences being the hood, the wings, and the wheels, basically. The body kit, which is the front bumper and the lower arrow to that, the side skirts, the rear skirt, and rear arrow are particular to the Urus kits. Both of the kits have the exact same ground effects. This kit has a hood with, sort of a ventilated sort of GT3-esque looking thing, whereas you'll see in a second the other hood is flat. There are 2 different sets of wheels. These wheels are from 2013. They're an old set of wheels that Aoshima had lying around. And then actually both of these kits have the same rear wing. It is just what supports that you put under it. This particular version 1 rides the small little ducktail spoiler supports, even though it's obviously not a ducktail spoiler. It's more like a GT3 spoiler, but be that as it may, it's a short spoiler. And then this is Type 2, where you see the spoiler is riding on a much higher GT3 style mounting system. The hood, again, is flat. The ground effects are the same. These wheels, however, are brand new tool wheels included in this, so it is nice to see that. I'm sure the wheels will be sold separately at some point in those little boxes of wheels and tires that Aoshima will sell from time to time, but at the time the only way to get these particular wheels is to buy that specific kit. Again, the only difference: wheels, wing, hood. And then we go over to Fujimi, where we're getting more of the Nismo boxing here. This is the Nissan March K11. You may recall this got reissued not too terribly long ago. It can't be more than 8-9 months ago. And it's coming back around in the 40th anniversary Nismo boxing, which again has the knockdown display case, which has the Nismo 40th anniversary logo on the floor. In this case, again, it contains a Lamborghini Miura, which Fujimi never did. It's such an odd choice, and I'm going to mention every time we see it. The March is kind of interesting because it does include left-hand drive, so you can do a Nissan Micra, which is what this car was called in its export trim, and so that's kind of interesting if you want to do that. Then you have this Suzuki Jimny JB64XL. In the last video, which again was filmed months and months ago, I mentioned that they had not done this yet. I had lost all form of my mind with that because I have the blank version of this, in the sense that like they released one that was just molded in white, and that's the one that comes with actual water slide decals. This one is molded in what they're calling jungle green, so it is the green one that's sort of in the background of the yellow one there, and it has Mylar stickers included. So this is not actually a new kit whatsoever. This is just a new coloring. It has not been released in the green yet. So there's that. Then we have the Honda Integra Type R GTW wing. Yes, another one of these. We included some wings in a otherwise standard kit nonsense. This does have the spoon wheels and the spoon decals. So it has the faux carbon fiber hood. This will be one of the very few times you see the spoon stuff get issued in a kit that doesn't have a yellow car, because that sort of spoon shtick is the yellow cars. So the DC2 Integra is not a bad kit. It's just a basic Fujimi kit, and I guess at the time when this was done last, because this kit came out as a GTW wing kit back in I want to say maybe 2001, 2002-ish, somewhere back in there. And that was having the spoon stuff in it was like a big deal, because the spoon stuff was licensed and it wasn't in anything, and blah 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 blah. Well, they've released the spoon kits themselves a couple of times recently, and so the spoon stuff sort of doesn't have the same allure that it did when this kit was done originally. But I guess you were just sort of pressing the copy print feature and reissuing an old kit. Yeah, you get what you get. So there's that. And then the other thing that is, these are more versions of this. We had talked about these a little while ago when they released the first batch, and there's going to be 3 of these that are included this month, of these 20-foot shipping containers that double as a display case, where you can take the front wall off and instead put a piece of clear plastic in, and you get to put your non-existent Lamborghini Miura into this display case. Now, looking at these more in depth, because again, the first ones came out and they just sort of like, well, hey, look, it's a trailer display case. The media on this, the reference stuff, was a lot more in depth this time around, and you can stack them. Although again, I don't know how tall you'd want to push stacking them. I definitely want to stack them against a wall, so at least one way it could fall is supported by something solid. The doors open, so like they're a functional shipping trailer. If you wanted to use that sort of as a Connex box and a diorama, you could choose to do that, because this would be a heck of a lot easier to get a hold of and cheaper to get a hold of than the old Italeri container is, because a lot of times in order to buy the Italeri container, you have to buy the whole trailer that it's attached to. I haven't seen the container itself sold separately in quite a while. But yeah, it's 22 pieces. Again, like I said, they stack. I don't know how tall I want to make that stack, before they might not stand up or they might tip over. I'd be more worried about a truck going by or shaking your wall and having the whole thing fall down, and then you coming home to work to, an explosion of pieces, because they're snapped together, so they're going to fall apart if they would, fall from a height. Anyway, there's a maroon one, there's a blue one, and there's no box art for it for whatever reason. I've looked around, I still can't find any. So there's also a yellow one, but I assume with the other box arts you got the idea. So yeah, if you're so interested, those are available. And then we go over to Hasegawa to finish out the month. We've got a couple of rally cars and a couple of other things, although I will say the other things are some very new things, so there's that. Let's talk about these rally car reissues first. However, we have this Subaru Impreza 2005 car. It's 2005 platform being run in a privateer setting here for the 2006 Acropolis Rally. This is an orange and blue car. You have to paint the orange yourself. Actually, technically, if you want to paint the car, you have to paint the blue yourself too, but you have to paint the two-tone. The orange part is not a decal because it actually wraps the whole car, not just the sides. And this car finished 15th in the rally, again run by a Greek driver doing a privateer effort. And then you have this Lancia 037, the Durforte 1986 European rally car detail up version. So this comes with a extra sheet of PE in it, which has the mesh grills for the front and the rear areas, as well as disc brake faces. Kind of a cool little extra. It's a couple of dollars more than the kit would normally cost. And this particular car finished 5th in this particular European rally stage. So there is that. And then you have, let's try to go from the least new to the most new here. You have this, which is a reissue of the Subaru 360 in the 40th anniversary of the Yukashiro Mechadoc series. This continues. This has the Jun Kazami figure included with it. So resin boy, all the things. And yeah, other than the decal sheet and the fact you get the resin figure, this is otherwise a just straight reissue of the Subaru 360. And then you have this, the Honda Civic GL two-door custom version. Now you may look at this and think, that's awful familiar looking. Didn't they already do that? Yes, there was one that came with a yellow box art. What you may not be remembering is that the Honda Civic that they did, the first gen Civic they did as a 1974 and a 1975. And there was a differentiation between those 2 years as to a refresh in the first gen Civic. So the 74 and the 75 have different front bumpers, different grills, different rear taillight treatments, different interiors, and things of that nature. They're very similar. Obviously, they're two small Econobox two-door hatchbacks, but there's actually probably about 30 different pieces between the two. And this is taking the race car pieces and throwing them into that other street car and molding it in blue. So this is a different, it looks similar, and ultimately it is very similar, but not the same choice if you want another one of these over-fendered street cars. And speaking of over-fendered street cars, you have this Nissan Skyline 2000 GTR Racing Custom. So this was the new tool Ken & Mary Skyline that Hasegawa had done, probably 2 years ago now, maybe 2.5 years ago. And if you remember those releases, there was a racing, what they call like a racing tribute version, because before the Ken & Mary GTR ever got to race, you had the oil crisis, and basically Japan, being Japan, decided that they weren't going to support like national racing at a time of a oil crisis. So there was no racing season that year, and as a result, Nissan had made this race car that never raced anywhere, but they've saved it in their Heritage Museum as sort of being a tribute to what the car would have been. And Aoshima did a kit of it years and years ago, and Hasegawa just did a kit of it last year. And so this takes all of those racing outside pieces, the big chin spoiler, the over fenders, the racing wheels, and all that sort of stuff, and punts it into the stock GTR kit to make this over fendery looking, kind of quasi Liberty Walk looking thing that is, a quote unquote new kit. So I think I'd have to look at the parts trees again. I think a bunch of the like roll caging and stuff comes with it because it's on the trees with the over fenders. But otherwise, this is a street kit that just has a race look to it, which is kind of funny because the Racing Tribute car obviously is a street car with a race look to it as well, because it never actually raced anywhere, and now these days rides around on regular tires because it doesn't need to be on slicks for anything. But yeah, there's that. And then you have this. This is a Nissan Gazelle late version, 1981 Turbo XE. There's been a late version of the Silvia that is based on the S110 as well. And this sort of just fills in the other side of the slate, if you will, because the Silvia and the Gazelle rather, are based on the same car. The Silvia was sold at one Nissan dealership, the Gazelle was sold at another. This is still a thing to this day, where there are multiple different levels of like Toyota dealership and Nissan dealership, where if you're a more affluent buyer, you go to like the Nissan Cherry dealership. If you're not, you go to the regular Nissan dealership, and so on and so forth. So this kit has a new grille, they're calling new B pillars, which are basically the trim for the B pillar, and new rear taillights added to all of the other parts from the late version of the Nissan Silvia, which got you like the mirrors and the wheels and the interior and stuff like that. That was the late version. So just another version of that. And with this kit, you now have 5 of these S110 street cars, because there are a couple of rally cars. So you could do a collection of them for IPMS collections if you so desired, which I'm sure would throw the IPMS to no end, because they wouldn't know what the hell they're looking at, which I think would be actually pretty funny. Also on the modified reissue train, we have this neat Honda Civic Si, the EF3 from 1987. This is going to have basically about 2 sprues worth of new parts, probably 35 pieces or so, to differentiate it and backdate it from the EF9 that had come out last year. This is a new hood, new bumpers, front and back, has a new steering wheel, some new, I think the seats themselves are also new headlights, new taillights, new buckets, new wheels. I love the fact that this kit has like the very, very basic, lowest trim available Econo box steely wheels. I think that's great. If you would have ever told me, hey, somebody's going to offer a Honda Civic and it's going to not be the top trim level with the top trim wheels, it'll be like the wheels that you would have gotten on a Honda Civic, like just buying a Honda Civic for $6,000. Hey, cool. And not have to like 3D print them or something. That's pretty neat. I like that. New decals in this, obviously. But yeah, this, like I said, takes the EF9 that is already done and backdates it back to the EF3. It's very interesting that the car got more powerful with the EF9, but there was a power bulge in the hood for EF3. I think that was a decision made when this particular generation of Civic came out, to make it like, oh, it's an Econobox, but it's a powerful Econobox. Maybe in Japan it was, but in reality, not so much. And then lastly, the last one we're going to talk about in this video, we have the Nissan Skyline 2000 Turbo RS R30 Early Edition 1983. There we are, Hasegawa. We're taking that whole thing and filling it full of numbers and letters. So this is a brand new kit. Never been done before. Now you may think, I've seen one of those before. Yes, Aoshima does do this kit. This kit also very closely riffs off of the police drama that they do kits for as well. But the police drama was just using this car rather than this car being for the police drama, right? This is a factory Nissan version of this. This red over black was a Nissan factory color scheme for the RS Turbo. This is how this car came, sort of as the preferred option package, right? You get in other colors if you wanted to, but this is how they wanted it to come. And so the crime drama show used the car as Nissan intended it to, since Nissan was supplying most of the cars to that show. And so that's sort of like where your visual reference connection, if you watch this series for a really long time, you think, I've seen this before, that's where that's coming from. This is not a replica of the police car that was used in that series. It's just how this car came. So yeah, brand new tool. Huzzah! Like, a lot of these times we're going like, oh, well, it has a brand new this and a brand new that. Well, it's all brand new. So there is that. There are, recording this again on Veterans Day. Again, thank you for your service. There is a what they call the Iron Mask version, which has the more traditional, which you think of when you think of like an R31 Skyline with the sort of peaked hood that comes down without a grill whatsoever, with the more integrated and smaller front headlights. That kit will be coming in December. And then I would expect racing versions of this kit to come after that in 2026, because the interior of this kit, I have one already. Just managed to get it. That's how late this video is. I managed to get this out before the de minimis tariffs stopped, or started, or the de minimis stopped, however you want to phrase that. And the interior of this is stripped out, like stamped steel. So this will be a race car at some point. That's what Hasegawa does that for, is so they don't have to create like two interior floor pans. I'm looking forward to those race cars, because that's like the one part of Japanese Touring Championship that's been missing all these years. Aoshima did those kits a long time ago. They weren't particularly good kits because of how old those things are compared to like a new toolkit. So I'm anxiously awaiting the race car versions of this. And this, this looks great. It's a new Tool Hasegawa kit, which have been very, very good models for the last 10, well, not 10 years, but let's see. Well, 10 years ago would have been when the Mini Cooper Clubman came out, which was sort of the dip of the toe into tooling new cars things, but it was 2018 when these new car kits started coming 2 to 3 a year. And so that's 7 years, and going on 8 now that we've gotten these. There's 24, soon to be 25 and 26 before the end of this year, brand new tools that we've gotten out of Hasegawa for automotive. Yes, it's all been Japanese stuff, and yes, that may not be your interest space. I understand that, but for those of us who appreciate that sort of thing, it's been a very, very exciting time. And this is just another one of those excellent new tool kits. So that, gentlemen, ladies, if they're already watching, wraps this video up. I hope you enjoyed it, and now you know what you would have bought or should have bought in August of 2025. We'll see you guys on the other side.